Hello, it's time for another driving debrief vlog. I'll try and keep this one shorter because my camera says 57 minutes on battery, but it lies. That said, there might be a lot to talk about, but I'll try and condense it. Did my first half mock test today with my driving instructor, Tony, in Launceston. I was a lot calmer today, a lot less stressed. It was icy out and very sunny and bright, as you can see, very high glare. So I brought my sunglasses. We drove out to Launceston. I'm starting to memorise the trip there now. We didn't get that many chances to test what I was trying to fix last lesson, which is tons of gear changes in a short space of time, near a hazard to slow down, like from third to first, rather than slowing down early. Apparently he wants to do it that way. It sounds counterintuitive to me, but that's how he wants it done. And pulling very left at T-junctions and roundabout junctions. We did a mock test. Afterwards, in the debrief, the actual debrief that he gave, my weaknesses apparently are like not perceiving things turning up based on street signs and things, not perceiving like when like if I'm driving down a street I've never seen before, I don't know when a random mini roundabout's going to pop out of nowhere, and that happened on this test. I thought the mock test for the most part was quite smooth, even though it was cut short. Quite smooth in terms of he didn't have any problems with my speed except for one occasion where I went slightly over 30. I went to like 32 in a 30 zone and he had to tell me to slow down. Apart from that, I tried to go slow. There was a lot of chicanes and stuff. There was a lot of waiting for oncoming vehicles, or like working out who has right of way and driving through neighbourhoods and going over speed bumps and stuff. I assumed all that was like 20 zones. It looked like 20 zones. There was just one moment where I thought I was driving in a national, and then I second guessed myself and thought, am I actually driving in a 30? There's nothing around here to say that it's a 30 zone, but I mean, it looks like a national. I haven't seen any signs. I assume it's a national. I think it was a national, and I think I did it right, but part of me thought maybe that's a 30 zone, but I mean, if it was, then Tony would have been telling me to slow down, and he wasn't, so I guess that was right. It just felt, something about it felt slightly wrong. The main problems happened with roundabouts. When I was on the roundabout, I have a hard time judging when the roundabout's coming up, firstly, and on approach to the roundabout, when you go straight ahead, that's a weak point. Sometimes straight ahead is past 12 o'clock and you don't need to indicate, and that throws me off because I learnt from like watching Aman's vids on clear route driving that anything past 12 o'clock you're meant to indicate right for until you get there, and obviously left to leave. And apparently we had several straight aheads on the roundabout where I didn't have the right lane on entry and I didn't do the right indicators except to leave. To go straight ahead you're meant to be not indicating but being in the left lane of the roundabout. And I think I straight lined the roundabout at one point. These aren't giant busy roundabouts, especially wasn't busy today, so that was in my favour. But yeah, it's perceiving when a roundabout's coming and what to do with the information you're given about where to go on the roundabout. I think in order to do that better, I need to be slower on the approach past the sign that tells you what the roundabout's about, so I can count the exits and all that. I need to be way slower passing those. But yeah, we didn't do a full mock test. He cut it short apparently because there was meant to be a show me tell me question and a manoeuvre, and those never happened. But apart from that, it felt almost near the time of a mock test. There was a bunch of sat-nav stuff at the start. The first half was sat-nav stuff and that confused the fuck out of me. I was looking at the dumb TomTom sat-nav thing and there was like, the woman's like, bear right and stuff, and it doesn't mean... Sometimes it means there's a right turn, and sometimes it means the road's just curving slightly to the right. And there was loads of occasions where it looked, to all intents and purposes, on the sat nav that the sat nav was telling me to turn left at an upcoming T-junction, and I paused to give way, thinking like the road markings were rubbed off or something. And it turns out it wasn't a T-junction. It was just like the road was curving left, and there just happened to be a road joining on the right side. So it's not actually a T-junction. It looks like a T-junction when you're seeing it in front of you, and the sat-nav's making it out that it's a T-junction, but there's no road markings for it. And yeah, it's just gauging what is what, you know, am I at a T-junction or am I at a road bearing left, like the sat-nav woman says. There isn't actually anything you give way for at all, you just keep going round. Also, I need to commit this to memory. A good way of spotting that a roundabout is right in front of you and about to happen, because a lot of times you see you're heading up to a roundabout and you see the black and white chevrons, and you just think that's a sharp bend in the road and the road's bearing to the left. But if you see a blue one-way marker pointing to the left, like white arrow on a blue background circle sign pointing to the left above a bunch of chevrons, that's a really good clue that a roundabout is right in front of you, because you can't always tell. Amazingly, you're looking at roundabouts, they just look like a collection of roads in front of you and a bend to the left. You can't really tell until you're right on them a lot of times, or at least I can't. So other drivers must be spotting things that I'm not spotting yet. There was there's a roundabout sign on approach to the roundabout, but it was like a green sign with white roundabout drawing on it. My interpretation of that, and seeing the chevrons, was that the road ahead was slowly bending, like there's a sharp bend on the road ahead, but the road was bending, and then eventually there'd be a roundabout. Whereas what the sign was actually telling me was, look, there's a roundabout right here. And so, yeah, I need to keep looking at loads more signs on the side of the road, just every single sign on the side of the road. There's one point that I think I did well, but it was a bit baffling to see, which was like the hazard sign, the hazard triangle, but nothing inside it, which I think just means general hazard, be prepared for something where there's an area where hazards happen. I think it said underneath it like for a quarter of a mile, empty red triangle, which is a very terribly designed sign, because you're like, oh, just be shocked for a quarter of a mile. Like, be alert and scared for a quarter of a mile. Things may happen. So at that point I saw that, and we were doing a mock test, so Tony was doing something I've never seen him do before, which is not talk. It's just like he's in full silent mode, and he's got his marking sheet, and I'm not meant to ask questions, and I'm not meant to say anything, and he's not meant to really say anything. A couple of points I went sorry, because I did something that obviously was a bit wrong. Can't remember what my train of thought was going just before that, but there were loads of points where Tony was just silent and I was silent, and like we go past the empty hazard triangle, and I'm just like, what is that? I'm just gonna slow down, okay? I don't know what this means other than miscellaneous. But he didn't seem to complain about it when he did the debrief, so I must have done that bit right. And it looked like the road was a bit narrower and a bit windier at points, so maybe that's what the hazard sign was about. It was 60 national speed limit, but a bit windier and a bit narrower at points. There was one roundabout that I completely messed up, and I knew that I'd failed on. Apparently I'd failed, like, I got three serious marks during the mock test. But the big one that I remember was, there was a sort of medium to large roundabout. I straight lined it, and I didn't know what lane I was meant to be in for it on the approach. So I didn't know what indicators I was meant to be using, and I miscounted the exits. It was like a second or third exit right I had to take, and I miscounted the exit, and I thought, is that the one we're meant to... Like, we were going past the one that I had to go down. I thought, is that the third exit? And we'd already passed it, and I thought, oh fuck. And so I thought, I'm just going to take the next exit and be safe about it. But Tony was like, can't let you do that, I'm afraid. We're not going for a picnic in Cornwall. That'll take us like miles out of our route, take us ages to get back. So he just said, go round. So I went around the roundabout again, and he helped me get off the roundabout at the actual exit. I knew that was a fail mark. I can't quite remember what the other fail marks were, actually. Like, he gave me... there were 3 serious marks. One was that, and there were 2 more. Oh, one must have been when I went over 30 in one of the areas. So what was the other one? The other one might have been speed-based. Or it might have been another roundabout one. There was like lots of roundabouts, and I think I messed up on 3 of them. At one point, a mini roundabout just snuck up on me, and I was like, whoa! I just went... All I could do, really, was like check to my right, because you may have checked for right for oncoming traffic, and there were no cars around, but I was like, whoa, that just snuck up on me. I kind of breezed over it because we were going straight ahead anyway. I don't know what speed we were doing, maybe 25 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, 25, somewhere around there. And I just looked over to my right where traffic would come from. And I probably had enough time to brake if I saw something. It would be a harsh brake, like an emergency style brake. But then I just, I went straight ahead over it because I didn't expect it to be there. So I'm obviously not taking enough cues for when the mini roundabouts and the bigger roundabouts appear, especially when one medium roundabout appears after a medium roundabout you've just come off of. Like, you don't realise you're on a double. That's fucking annoying. It's more than annoying, it's kind of intense, because it's like, whoa, okay, I don't have enough time to look at all the markings and stuff. There are various points off the mock test where a truck was like blocking one entire section of the road and you had to just figure out what was going on and go around it, like on National 6D roads. I thought it was a bin lorry, but I don't think it was a bin lorry. It was like a broken down farm lorry or something with its hazards on. Tony gave the tip to look under the wheels to try and see what was ahead. Like under the wheels of the lorry to try and see the road ahead, but anyway, just kind of try and come out, hoping that the car in the other direction has seen the truck. I'm trying to remember other significant bits. It's a bright sunny day, so that I did have my sunglasses on, but even then, the glare got right in my eyes. At one point we had a really sharp, I don't know how you say it, it's a T-junction, but the T is like squashed, like that sort of thing. And you're coming up this road to this T-junction, and you try and look over your left shoulder to see that the left is clear for oncoming traffic before you come out, and you can't see it. And I thought, like, I can't see down there. I can't see if I look down my left blind spot either. I can't see in my wing mirror. I can't see in my blind spot wing mirror. It's just like, and he's just like, come out gradually anyway, that's all you can do. And I was like, oh my god. And then I remembered to check right, which was good, before I tried it, and then I kind of slowly edged out of the T-junction. It's such a it's like a really blind T-junction, insanely so. Can't remember too much of anything else. It was all a bit of a blur. There was lots of residential areas. There was like a weird Cornish, we went to a weird Cornish village. I suppose I keep forgetting we're in Cornwall, we're in Launceston. So we went to something like Tregillit or something, Tregadillo, something like that. Some weird, like there's loads of Cornish villages that begin with the prefix tre, T-R-E, and it was one of those, and it was like a little random village that I think went out of Launceston, went on the dual carriageway. You come off on the way to Bodmin, and there's this little weird village called Tregadillit. And I went through there, and I think I managed it okay. There was a National 60, and then there was a 30, and then there's this weird village, and then there's a National after that, and then you leave again. And yeah, there's lots of little residential areas that handled, like, I think I handled my speed and gears all right for like the chicanes and the residential areas, the places where you're meant to go slow. But I was just terrible at kind of roundabouts and places where you're meant to go fast, I think. The main thing is just like reading the road signs, knowing what's coming. But it's also the misleading sat-nav, and he says if the sat-nav looks like it's telling you something, try and like sort of ignore the sat-nav, but also follow it at the same time. It's a weird like dichotomy you have to put in your mind when using the sat-nav, where if you think the sat-nav's leading you astray, you just try and follow the road instead, as is, which makes sense. Oh, I hate reading that sat-nav. It's just like, whenever it just says, like, whenever it makes out that you're turning left when you're not turning left, you're just going around a road that goes to the left and all that. It's just kind of really misdirecting, and it kind of pisses me off because it's like interfering with my driving. Like, if I wasn't following the sat-nav, then I'd be more inclined to get it right. Didn't have to bump my wheels up on a pavement to get by any parked trucks this time, so that was a relief. But also didn't get to use much of my knowledge from last lesson's fail, which was like, yeah, trying to keep left at junctions and doing all the different gears a lot before a hazard. Very close to the hazard, which is apparently what you're meant to do. There was another roundabout where I approached where I didn't know there was a roundabout, and I thought I was entering some sort of slip road. You're going up this road on a 60 mile an hour road, I think, or a 40 mile an hour, and there's like chevrons to the left, which again, in my mind, I'm having trouble differentiating between chevrons to the left for a tight bend or chevrons for a left, meaning a roundabout's right there in front of you, dude. But these ones were actually chevrons to the left for a tight bend, and we approached it at too high a speed, and I should have gone down a gear to make the turn, seeing the chevrons, and I didn't, and so we went round that, and then there was a roundabout that I wasn't expecting after that, and I was still going too fast for that, way too fast to look at the sign or something. I must have been going 30 miles an hour around this bend and on the approach to the roundabout, which is no good because you don't have enough time to look at the sign, especially if you're being fed directions. So yeah, I didn't know that roundabout was there because I didn't know where the fuck we were for a start. But yeah, I should have made the approach a lot slower so I could work out what the hell I was going to do on the roundabout. It's remarkable when you're a learner and you're going onto a roundabout and you're making mistakes like straight lining it. It's remarkable how lenient a lot of the people are around you in the other cars. Like, other road users seem to know how to react well to you when you have problems entering a roundabout or being in the wrong lane, even though it wasn't high traffic that day. You just kind of get that feeling like the more experienced drivers are kind of helping the learner drivers a bit. Like they are able to dodge you or whatever, slow down or speed up depending on what you're doing, which is interesting. Yeah, and that was pretty much my lesson for today. Can't think of anything else. I'm sure a lot of stuff happened. We didn't drive for the full mock test amount. We must have driven for at least half an hour though, I think, around Launceston, on and off dual carriageways, and to this other random town, Tress something. Next time, because he's flagged up some of my weaknesses from these 3 series, Tony's going to work on those weaknesses. We're going to do a bunch of roundabout lessons in Launceston, I think, and so we're not doing a mock test next time. We might be able to he says I might be able to go back to 4 hours a week, which is 2 lessons a week, but he advises that I cancel my test for the 30th of January because I'm not ready yet apparently. So hopefully I can get reimbursed for that. I don't know what the process is. Hopefully I can sort out the process and rebook it for like end of February or early March. That depends on the slots available. I hope I can get it for around then. Thing is, if you try and book it spontaneously, you end up not being able to get in until 2 months later or something. So I hate that I have to postpone my driving test and not do it on the 30th. That's something that has to happen apparently because I'm not quite at the level for full mock tests yet. I might be able to be on the level of full mock tests at my last lesson in January, but then I've got to do more mock tests so that it kind of perfects it, sort of thing. So I can't realistically do the test at the end of January. I'll tell you about that next driving debrief vlog. Thank you for watching.
You got more than one limo?
Yeah.
You and me are gonna do a limo joust.
What the hell is that?
All right, you ready?
I don't want to do this!
Go! That went exactly as I wanted it to go.